Steelers have an explosive offense. Their top wide receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster.
No doubt for the Giants defense. As soon as the Steelers break the huddle, they want to find Juju, find 19. He's no doubt their most explosive receiver. You can see last year just 3 touchdowns, but after the catch, very tough guy to bring down.
Yeah, the numbers might not be eye-opening, but he only played in 12 games, missed 4 due to injury, and Ben Roethlisberger was injured for pretty much the entire year. He plays inside and outside, Sean, so the Giants will have 2 players matching up with him, James Bradbury and Darnay Holmes. Let's start outside first. When he's outside against James Bradbury, what does he have to look out for?
Yeah, no doubt for Bradbury. He's got to be physical with Juju. At the line of scrimmage, he wants to jam him. Bradbury is a very physical corner. He also has some very good recovery speed, so he's going to want to disrupt the routes. And as you mentioned right here, Juju, look, he played half as many snaps outside as inside, so they're going to certainly move him around.
Now, Sean, we don't know how the Giants are going to utilize James Bradbury. Will they have him travel with the other team's best wide receiver? It is something he did last year. He traveled with the likes of Julio Jones, Mike Evans, Michael Thomas, and DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, he did it all, and he only gave up 2 touchdowns, so he has that ability. I think he likes being that guy. He's not going to back down from anybody. All those receivers are different because they're big, physical, tall guys. Juju is a little bit more of a guy in space. He's got a little bit more burst, a little more acceleration than size.
And that's why they like to move him into the slot, where they like to target him on some shorter passes, get it to him in space on those shallow crosses, give him room to get some yards after the catch. Darnay Holmes could be one of the Giants that matches up with him in that slot. What does he need to do to slow him down on those types of routes?
Yeah, Darnay Holmes has been very impressive all throughout training camp and in the scrimmages, constantly breaking up balls. He does a great job with the ball in the air, not panicking, doesn't grab the receiver, has a good ball recognition. But the challenge is going to be finding Juju because, as you mentioned, when they do move him into the slot, it's not always just a one-on-one matchup. They like to put him in these trips formations and kind of hide him a little bit. So now you can't get your hands on him. You can't be physical with him on the release. That creates the space. And, of course, he likes the crossing routes and the deep in routes. That's really where he excels. And it's the yards after the catch. So for Darnay Holmes, John, he's got to make sure if he makes the catch, you make the tackle and the play ends right there.
And a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster is exactly why the Giants brought in somebody like Logan Ryan, who has the versatility to match up inside with somebody like Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, Logan Ryan can play all over the place. So if you don't want to put a rookie on this veteran right here who's got some tricks up his sleeve, Logan Ryan can absolutely do that. The other thing that Logan does, he brings pressure too. He's a good blitzer. So if you can get pressure on Ben, now it helps out your corners a lot.
And, of course, aside from Juju Smith-Schuster, the Steelers with a lot of weapons outside. Eric Ebron, new addition at tight end. And the other wide receivers, rookie Chase Claypool, big guy with a lot of speed. James Washington's a deep threat. And, of course, Deontay Johnson, the second-year player out of Toledo, who's really nifty and crafty inside.
Yeah, no doubt Ben loves his tight ends in the red zone, so Eric Ebron will be a nice matchup for them. Whether it's a safety or a linebacker, we'll have to see. But also Vance McDonald is another tight end that they like to use in the red zone.
The Giants debut their 2 new systems on Monday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do the Steelers present a bigger challenge for the Giants' offense or their new defense?
I'm going to say
that's easy, Bob. Go ahead, Carl.
I say it's a challenge for the Giants' offense.
Well, the offense is going to be good, but I think it's going to be a challenge for the Giants' defense. Big Ben will be back in the pocket again, and he'll be willing and dealing. So even though their offense may have looked like it's been the same offense forever, it's been an offense without Ben for 1 year. So it's going to be really interesting for that defense to try to stop Big Ben.
And the beauty of having no spectators at practice, no one knows what Ben looks like. This offense could be dink and dunk for all we know. I think it's the Pittsburgh Steelers that are going to pose the biggest problem to this Giants offensive line.
There are no preseason games around the NFL this year, so how ready do you feel? How sure of yourself are you that you'll be ready to have real action on Monday against Pittsburgh?
I'm very confident in the work that we've put in as a team, the work that I put in as a player, and I think a lot of that goes into our preparation as well. And I think as we continue to come in as a team and get ready to play this game against the Steelers, I think everything else is going to take care of itself.
You know, Evan, the Steelers are bringing back almost all of their starters on defense from last year, and that was a season during which they gave up 8 touchdown passes to tight ends, 6th most in the National Football League. Do you have to rely a lot on that film since you didn't see any in the preseason? Is that something you guys as a tight end group can exploit?
The Steelers' defense is just great, honestly. They have elite talent at every level of their defense. Right now, we're just trying to perfect our game plan and come up with the best way we can go out there and score points and win the game.
The Giants recently signed two-time Super Bowl champion Logan Ryan, who wore number 26 at his last two stops in Tennessee and in New England, and he joked around saying, hey, he had a conversation with Saquon about the number, but saying, you know what, buying that off of him was out of his price range. Now, he and Joe Judge both got their starts in New England, and he talked about what it was like working with the coach way back then.
He was an assistant special teams coach, and I was on the special teams a lot as a rookie in New England, so we spent a lot of time together, and he was detail-oriented, he was serious, but he's more of a player's guy than he might, want to come off. And I think he can relate to the player, and he does a good job of connecting to you.
We got to pick out a guy on the Pittsburgh Steelers who needs to go below the numbers.
Big Ben. He's definitely the one that we have to talk about. Obviously, we're looking at the 2018 statistics with him being out in 2019 and them going to Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges. But this is a man that the defense is going to have to swarm around, condense and collapse the pocket, and wrap up and bring down this big-bodied quarterback.
I'm going to give you a little something that the Giants have in their back pocket. Joe Judge was with Bill Belichick in 2012. Since that time, Ben Roethlisberger is only 1-5 against the Patriots. And it wasn't only about talent, it was also about scheme. You don't think that Judge has some of those old Patriots plays to pull out when Big Ben over that time only had 10 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions, and 12 sacks?
Ben Roethlisberger is going to go to the Hall of Fame. Over 50,000 yards. All the numbers are there. He's won a couple Super Bowls. He's been to 3. But there is a theater of the unknown considering age and the elbow injury he's coming off of. What are your thoughts on Roethlisberger and how he can change the dynamic of the Steelers' offense?
Well, the offense may change because of what his limitations are or what he's fully capable of doing. So I think he is a leader. He's a big, strong, confident guy. And no matter what his physical condition is in terms of arm strength, you will have to be at your best against Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, and all reports out of Pittsburgh are that he is zipping the ball around with tremendous velocity. But the thing about Roethlisberger that's interesting is he's made so many plays over the course of his career off schedule with people hanging on him, throwing it from odd angles. The question is, how does he handle those situations?
And how will he handle it the first time he sees it, too? Will he be the risk taker, the daredevil, the throw caution to the wind type of guy?
The number 38, Giants are playing the Steelers. They led the NFL last year in takeaways with 38. And Carl, they bring back everybody on defense that they had last year. This is a tough order in week number 1.
Well, tough is the operative word, too, because this is a tough-minded football team. They're aggressive, they're skilled, but they are mentally tough. So you have to be at your best every single play.
All right, Carl, we're going to take a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers pass rush led by T.J. Watt and Bud Dupree. What do they do so well up front?
They do everything well up front, but they can give you problems just from alignment, Bob. And I'm going to step in, so step out just a little bit here. If you look at the alignment of the end and the tackle here, they're outside of the tight end. So what happens? It creates a natural seam if they wanted to run an end tackle twist, which they do. So when you're going to see is the tackle try to stay in tight, but because T.J. Watt is out so wide, the tackle just splits them both, the defensive tackle. Look at this. Just take a look. This guy naturally runs right through, creating a seam, and it's just an easy loop. So when you see T.J. Watt outside of your tight end, that means he's going to either go inside or outside, but you have to be alert for a twist because the inside guy gets a natural seam.
Now, we mentioned Bud Dupree. We're going to take a look at how they utilize him, this one against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Now, Bud Dupree, good skilled outside linebacker. Here's Bud Dupree standing up. But here's you got a back. If they're going to one-on-one block everyone, this back has to keep his eyes here. So that means there's a one-on-one with the tackle. Back cannot help out in case the safety comes. Now, safety moves up, you see the back make the adjustment. This could be Saquon Barkley. Just take a look what happens here. They found a mismatch with Dupree, and the safety does just enough. Let's slow it down here. Safety does just enough here to keep the back's attention as Dupree comes around, makes the sack. Good speed rush, and at the end of this, look what happens. He gets to the quarterback. I'll slow it down. Boom, ball's out. Ball security is important as it is blocking these blitzers.
And you've seen that a few times, right? Lawrence Taylor made that pretty famous.
Oh, yeah.